All right, so it's going to be day one of the 2024 NFL Combine. We are starting off with defensive linemen and linebackers today. Now, I know a lot of Patriots fans are going to be like, well, no, we don't need to worry about defense. No, defense is, quote-unquote, all set. We're all good there. Well, yeah, we were last year when we had, a good roster on the defense. Now, minus a few major injuries, the defense, even then, was solid, right? And so people are thinking that's just the way it's going to be. Well, you lost your head coach, who's one of the greatest defensive minds in NFL history, and his son, who was the play caller. So it's definitely taken a major hit. I don't care what you say. And then the second thing is that we have some guys that are still up for free agents were major players this past season. And in addition to that, we've let some guys go. And next year, some of your best defensive players will be up for contract, and they're pretty. This will be their third contracts, I think, for some of these guys. So you need to consider: are you going to keep them? And if they are going to be coming back, they're going to have to accept it's going to have to be for a team-friendly deal. So I expect most of those guys to go ring chasing, right? So there are some issues here, people. Between this year and next year, you're going to have to get defensive players. So you should be looking at these guys. Well, we don't really need to. Well, yeah, we do. And if you want to worry about next year, I don't think next year's draft class is nearly as good as this year's. And on top of that, this year's is, I think, so stacked at two positions that have been thin for, I think, 3 or 5 years now. 3 to 5. Which is offensive tackle and wide receivers. Specifically X receivers or even alpha ones. And what I mean by that is that I think you can probably get, in the first 2 days, I wouldn't be surprised if more than half would be done between those two positions. I don't think it will, but I would be surprised if you get 30-something picks between offensive tackle and wide receiver in the first 2 days of the draft. For two reasons. One, everybody needs them. It's been such a, they're expensive positions to sign for free agency. So if you can get somebody, if you're in position to draft one, you can get one in the draft, and you got a really expensive free agent that you don't want to really sign for that price, you're going to go with the guy in the draft. You're going to let the other guy walk. So you have a whole bunch of that happening. And then the fact that you can always upgrade and always renew at those two positions. So what do I mean? Why is that important? Why is the offensive side, and what does it mean for these guys? Well, you're going to get some guys who are probably first-round talents easily making it deep into the second round, possibly third. And guys who are day 2 picks, they're going to be there the early part of day 3, maybe even make it even to the 5th round. So we should be looking at these guys because we still need to address the fact that we're probably going to need at least one edge player, and we should probably consider taking a D tackle here. And coverage linebacker, still apparently a need. And we also, who knows what Mac Wilson Sr. is going to do. What's going to happen with Uche? What's going to happen with Jennings? We know Adrian Phillips is gone. We know Lawrence Guy is gone. There's a lot of questions going on here, guys. And then next year, almost all your D tackles are up. So we need to take a look at these guys. So I'll just say these two groups, especially the defensive linemen, are impressive. They're going to put on a show today. A lot more linebackers this year are probably going to be impressive than the previous years. And what I mean by that, maybe not at the top end, let's say like Peyton Wilson and like Trevin Wallace might, as for linebackers, will put on a great show. Same thing with what's his face from Texas A&M? Where is he? Edgerrin Cooper. Any other? These guys are good. Easton Gibbs, I'm not really sure about him. I haven't seen his numbers. Gabriel Murphy, although I see him more of as an edge player, will probably be impressive. Dallas Turner will be impressive. Chris Braswell. Again, these guys are Jack linebackers. They're more edge players anyways, but in this grouping, Chris Braswell, Dallas Turner, and Murphy would be good. And then, like I said, Edgerrin Cooper would be good. Nathaniel Watson should be good. Wallace, Peyton Wilson. So this group is good, but then the real big heavy hitters and the freaks are going to come out of the defensive linemen. I think the top freaks in the whole... If I was to rank them all, I think the top guy that's going to test out today, that'd be the most impressive, might be Jared Verse and then Chop Robinson. Jared Verse from FSU, edge player. Chop Robinson, Penn State, edge. Then Chris Jenkins as D tackle. After that, Chris Braswell, who, yes, edge as a linebacker. Trevin Wallace should be good there. Same thing with Peyton Wilson. Byron Murphy should be a top freak as well. Myles Cole from... Where's he? Do they have him edge or they have him on D tackle? Yeah, so Myles Cole, who is a defensive end but can also play some D tackle. I consider him possibly as a Barmore insurance next year. Actually, Mason Smith should also test out very well. Where is he? Mason Smith from LSU plays very, very similar to Barmore. Now, I don't think he's good, but I think he could test out very well. And, I think he'd be available maybe in the 4th round. Maybe. So he's someone to keep an eye on. He had a knee injury a couple years ago, and he didn't look so hot even the first half of this year, but he started to look better. Other top freaks to look for. Gabe Hall, he's a D tackle that can play some edge as well. I like him. Again, could be another great Barmore insurance there. Javon Solomon from Troy. Super freakish. He's very powerful. Probably going to put up like high 20s, maybe even 30 in the bench. Should have a good 40. Agility, we'll see. My problem with him is his testing will probably look great, but he's very stiff. He's so muscle bound. He's such a wrecking ball that the dynamic movements and fluidity is going to be an issue. And he's going to be strictly pass rush. I don't know if he can really set an edge. So he'd be a 3rd down specialist. I've seen PFF have him pretty high. He's somebody that we might consider if he's there in the 4th, though. Another good guy to keep an eye on is Brandon Dorlus. Now, PFF has him pretty high, but he seems to be... Do they have him on here? Yeah, there he is. Okay. PFF has him graded pretty high, but he seems to be kind of like this under the radar by the media. Not a lot of people talk about him. And his stats are decent, but they're not extraordinary because he's on... Oregon has talent all over their defense. Another guy, very similar, I just did a video on him, which is Tyler Davis. Another guy that's kind of... I guess you would say a victim of just being surrounded by incredible defensive talent, both these guys. So, somebody to keep an eye on there. Anybody else that's going to be freaks there? So, Jared Verse, Jenkins, Chop Robinson, Trevin Wallace, Mason Smith, Byron Murphy might be a top. Yeah, like I said, Peyton Wilson, Myles Cole, Javon Solomon, Gabe Hall, Brandon Dorlus, Tyler Davis, and Chris Braswell. Now, the guys I'm looking at that I think should do well, or I have no clue. Basically, guys I'm really intrigued to watch. Marshawn Kneeland. I think he could pop. Jonah Elliss is another speedster. I think honestly, I think he'd be our 2nd round pick if we still had 2nd or 3rd maybe. I mean, let's say 3rd. Kind of depends on the draft, but I think he'd be one of our day 2 picks if Belichick was still around. I think when he got Christian, I think he went after Christian for that reason too. Jalyx Hunt, he's really cool. Where do they have him? As edge or D end? They do. All right, so Jalyx Hunt's interesting because I think he's got a lot of decent coverage ability because he played safety. So he bulked up like 30 pounds, and I did a video on him a long time ago. Yeah. Oh, that's another guy to keep an eye on. Javontae Jean-Baptiste. He was in my sleeper. He should test out real well, especially speed and power-wise. Not sure about his agility, but his straight line, straight on, he's impressive. Big sleeper, still hasn't get too much talk about him. I think he could be one of those guys you could pick up late and put him on special teams, and then he might be a kind of, I hate to say, but yeah, probably Dietrich Wise understudy for a year or so. But anyway, back to guys to keep an eye on. Kamara. I know he's fast and powerful, but I just want to see if he's really that freakish. I don't know. Jerry Newton's another guy that, should test well, but it'll be interesting because I think if he does better than expected, he might bump himself back up into that top 10 area. He is the best D tackle in the draft class. He just does, most people don't really talk about it. Another guy to keep an eye on, Ayabi Okeanoma, another edge guy, upright edge. He can play a little bit of linebacker. He's got that in him. Where do they have him? Huh. Is he on linebacker? Yep, they do. Oh no, lineman. Wow, I'm the wrong one. There he is. Yabi Okeanoma from Charlotte. Probably people are scoffing at the fact he goes to Charlotte. No, don't, because he came from Michigan. He just followed Biff Poggi from who's now the head coach at Charlotte from Michigan. So he's interesting. Eric Watts, I've mentioned him a few times. I got to see if this guy can really move, and maybe he just needs to be, what's the word I'm saying? Motivated. He's got the build, and it seems like the physical tools. He just needs to show me he's got a lot more twitch. And again, really interesting DN there. Xavier Thomas. I mean, on tape, he looks like a missile. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 4.4s. So he'll be a good. I mean, if you can pick him up in like the 5th or 6th, it'll be interesting. Braylon Trice would be another one to watch. He might make it to the 3rd round. If he's there, that's a good pickup for him. Easton Gibbs, linebacker from Wyoming. Good stats, good tape. Just want to see if he can keep up with NFL receivers. That's where I just want to see, because his skills do look great for a coverage linebacker, and I think he could be also a great spy guy. All right, Tyrese Knight, another linebacker to keep an eye on. Let's see, Gabriel Murphy, like I said. Dallas Turner, want to see where he's testing at. Nathaniel Watson looks to be extremely powerful. Same thing with Edgerrin Cooper. So if we, Peyton Wilson's off the board, and we're still looking for a good athletic linebacker for coverage, Edgerrin Cooper, Nathaniel Watson, and then maybe if we can possibly see if Curtis Jacobs would be another guy in there. See if Easton Gibbs really does test out that well. Khalid Duke keeps popping up on my board recently. Junior Colson, another guy that stats-wise looks great. Tape looks great. Just got to see where he is in terms of physical attributes, right? If he's fast, if he can run near the 4.5s, man, him in like maybe the 5th. Anything else? No. So again, top guys, probably Jared Verse, Chris Jenkins, Chop Robinson, one of those 3 guys basically being the top out of the defensive, out of all the defense. Maybe Chris Braswell. Peyton Wilson might have some of the freakish numbers in terms of speed, and I have to imagine his field drills are going to look great. And then maybe the big sleeper in terms of freakishness might be Byron Murphy. And then truly under the radar might be Mason Smith. But again, I want to see how he moves. I'm not sure if his knee's 100% yet. I'm hoping he just does test out well. He's had a rough go over the last couple years. So I know that's like 30 guys to keep an eye on. I'm going to probably, I'll fill it in real time. I'll see if maybe I can do a live for it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If it was at least helpful, I'll try to do an update tonight to see what we got. And then, like I said, I might do some updates during the middle of it. If you guys like this content, as always, please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching.